Welcome to Finding Certainty with your host and U.S. Army veteran, Patrick Laing. Over the next hour, you'll learn from Patrick and his expert guests how to attract more certainty into your business and your life. Now, here is your host, Patrick Laing.
Welcome to Finding Certainty. It's our favorite day of the week. I used to say that about Fridays because my show was previously airing every Friday morning. Feedback we got from our audience and the research we did said that Wednesday is actually the best day to have a live show like we have here on Finding Certainty. I think it might have something to do with Hump Day, right? It's the middle of the week. People have gotten their week off to a start. They're gearing up and winding down toward the end of the week, and they want to maybe check in and unwind a little bit and listen to something like our show. Now, it's interesting because if you do any research, there are hundreds of thousands of hits for the word certainty out there. And yet there are millions and millions of hits for the word uncertainty. A lot of uncertainty out there. A lot of people looking for solutions, for ways to improve their lives and improve their businesses. Well, that's what this show is all about. Here on Finding Certainty, my name is Patrick Laing. I'm the host of Finding Certainty, but I get to bring on really interesting and innovative and extraordinary guests that are helping create and helping develop more certainty in the world around them. Our guest today is a good friend of mine, Mr. Mike Popovich. He's the co-founder of a revolutionary new social media platform we're going to be learning about that can, in fact, create more certainty for their content creators, influencers, and even for the fan base, the subscribers that participate in their platform. So, Mike, thanks for being with us here on Finding Certainty. Excited to hear your story and talk a little bit about what you guys are up to.
Yeah, good to have me, my friend. I appreciate it. So we'll get into it, whatever you want. Like I said, I have no secrets. So we'll see if we can help people find more certainty, like you said.
100%. You know, we're big fans of what you're doing. You and I go way back. Obviously, you're a good friend of ours, and we really appreciate myself and the others. My partners. We've always appreciated the way you do business, and I always start out my show sharing a couple of reasons why I've invited this specific guest to be on Finding Certainty. And the first is exactly that. You, for your entire career, and as many years as I've known you and seen, you try to do business in such a way that it blesses the lives of those around you, right? That's a big mantra for us with our company, Certainty Management. We want to not just make income, but we want to make a difference, right? We want to not just do business, but we want to do good. And that's really been it's who you're known. It's what you're known for. It's who you're known as, right? That's how you do business. And I've always appreciated that. We see that bleeding into this new project you have. And the second reason, though, I've invited Mike to be on Finding Certainty today is because, as I said, what he and his business partners, Mike Sharbo and Chris Miller, what they're creating is set to really revolutionize social media, in my opinion. And we'll get into why that is and how that is and so forth. But when you have someone with the right principles and the right ethics and the right morals, and then they have a groundbreaking technology and concept, and you bring those two together, you're gearing up for something pretty special. So that is why, Mike, you're my very first guest now on the new show, B2 Studios. I did my monologue last week, and it's for next. Talked about what's coming next, and then I thought it was apropos to have you as our guest. I think we'll have Chris on another time and talk about his background. And, he's the social media guru. You're the business guru, and the two of you combined, that's with Mike with Sharbo as well. That's a pretty powerful trio, in my opinion. So anyway, let's jump into it. I always like to take a little bit of a stroll down memory lane and talk a little bit about you and your background, right? Who is Mike Sharbo? Where are you from? And maybe a little bit of your background. I know you've been very successful in direct sales and in business in other areas. You do a weekly broadcast of your as a I don't know if you refer to yourselves as a pastor as much as a thought leader, but you do a broadcast each week, Freedom Ministries, that broadcasts all over the country, around the world, and I love that. That's just says one more thing about who you are. But let's go back here a little bit. Let's talk about where you grew up
Yeah,
and
sure.
went to school and kind of what brought you to where you are today.
Yeah, I appreciate all the flowery words and kind words. I'm getting excited about what we're putting together just listening to you. So it sounds really good when you talk about it. But humble beginnings, very humble beginnings. Um, Youngest of seven kids, single mom, and didn't have a lot. So one thing she did instill in all the kids was, hey, we don't have a lot, but you're going to do your best, whatever you do. And so she was a school teacher. And when I was 6, I saw my oldest brother graduate from West Point. And as you know, this is how influential when we're in that alpha theta stage of your life, where usually from 1 to 7 years old, you just take everything as literal. You don't have a lot of filters. And so I remember President Ford at the time gave my brother his diploma. And from this tiny little Iowa town, I thought that must be the pinnacle of success. The president gave my brother his diploma. So I remember very
That's pretty cool.
distinctively going, yeah, I remember going, the president will give me my diploma, having no concept at 6 years old what that even is. Um, so fast forward, I really believe that's how I kind of programmed myself at that age. And I actually wanted to be a medical doctor, actually. And so when I applied to the Air Force Academy. I was originally thought I was going to go in my brother's footsteps, and he knows me. And he said, "No, no, no." It's funny because you said Army veteran. You know, he had a career in the Army, retired '06, and he said, "Mike, I know your personality. You should go to the Air Force Academy, not West Point, because the Air Force sleeps in hotels, and the Army we sleep in tents." Those were his exact words. So I said, "Well, he's my older brother. I'll take that advice." So long story short, I get to the academy. Um, was Met my wife there, Barb, who we both graduated from the academy, and my whole intention was to be a doctor, to be honest with you. And I always thought, well, I don't have any money, but I'm very good at school. Valedictorian, straight A's, class president, just whatever we did, that's what my mom instilled in us. We were going to be very good at. That was just instilled in us. And so I thought, well, I don't have any money, so at least I'll get my education paid for at the Air Force Academy. Graduate, took the MCAT on my way, and anonymously, a good friend of mine now, Kathy Rex, calls Barbara and I and says, "Hey, I'm an Air Force Academy graduate. We're starting a company. We're looking for other grads. Would you be interested in hearing about it?" And she showed me direct sales. And so at that time, I thought, this is the easiest thing I've ever seen. This is the way I'm going to pay for my medical school, so I don't owe the Air Force 19 years, because they, as you know, they'll pay for your education, but you have 2 for 1. You add in all this, you basically. I remember them saying that is like, you're going to have 19 years of commitment. Looking back, as you know, that's not that long, but when you're 19, that's a lot of years. You go, that's as long as I've been alive. I don't know if I can make that commitment. So I see direct sales, and I thought, this is great. I saw how easy it was to make $2,000 a month. Didn't know it had a stigma. Didn't know any of that, right? And then I started to make too much money, and I didn't go to medical school. So finding certainty. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just interject. That's funny because I had a different plan in mind where I was planning to go to law school. Right, I was a big
Yeah,
John Grisham fan. I wanted to be a trial lawyer and actually majored in English because they said that's a good precursor for law. And
right.
but during the summers, I was selling, you know, living scriptures and Cutco knives and rainbow vacuum cleaners and phone directories, all these different sales things that I did during the summers. And I was making so much money in the summer. I'd work for 2 months, take a month off and play, and have the whole school year paid for.
Right.
And I thought, I'm pretty good at this, right? Maybe I should stay in sales. I've been in sales now 40 years. Never did go to law school, right? So
Similar
similar,
story.
similar
Yeah,
paths, if you will.
very similar story, just different career fields, right?
Yeah.
So, and I thought that the whole interesting part about finding certainty is I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's the certainty of mailbox money that everybody loves. They love the
Yeah.
idea of it. Like, man, I would love to have an ongoing residual income that's very certain, that's predictable. And that was
Right.
very appealing to Barb and I as well, which is why we did what we did. And we were one of the top in the country for a lot of years. And then it just got a little strange. Like anything, is if you don't run it, you don't control it. The people that do control it get to call the shots, and you may or may not agree with them, right? It's their, they can do what they want to do. So we just vowed, hey, if we're ever going to do this again, because I don't think this is that hard, like you said, is um, we always wanted to, once you're in that, like yourself too, once you're in the field, once you're the ones doing the marketing, the sales, etc., we know what we need, and you and I have talked about that, is if we could ever design something that just listened to the field, we would make the owners ridiculously successful, right?
Yeah.
So that's really
Yeah.
what we wanted to do, is like, this isn't that hard. And it's very interesting. I was reading David Hawkins, which kind of leads us to where we are, why we're doing what we're doing with Chris Miller and this new company. I was reading David Hawkins' Map of Consciousness, and and when he originally approached me, he's a social media expert, like you said, and they manage 100 million plus YouTube subscribers. So they know some of the top creators, influencers in the world. And he originally had approached me, and he said, "Hey, are you interested in getting some of your streams up to this many subscribers?" And I said, "I'm really not, because it takes a lot of work to maintain it a lot of times, et cetera. And it really just wasn't where I wanted to go." But then I was reading that Map of Consciousness, and it said, if you have an attitude or service that helps others achieve their goal, somebody like yourself with finding certainty that has a message we can get out to the world, that all of a sudden got me excited, because the
That
problem was,
resonated.
yeah, that's what really resonated to me. So I called up Chris again. And I said, okay, I'm not really interested in doing it for me, but I would love to put together a platform where we can help others like yourself, who this is their passion, um, be able to go reach millions of subscribers. And I know everybody says it's a lofty goal, but we really believe it is. We really think we can raise the consciousness of humanity, help humanity. And so that's really where we started. And then we can get into any details you want, but that's my humble beginning to success in business. And, Barb and I have been free, that certain thing where we haven't had to go outside of our house to make a living, since I was 32, and I'm 56 now. So,
Wow. Well,
yeah,
they say that if you understand residual income, you'll go through a wall to get it, right? That's the famous phrase. They
yeah, it's
also
true.
call it beach money, because you make it even when you're sitting on the beach, right?
Yeah.
But I echo your sentiment that if you're ever going to do it again or be involved in any sort of word of mouth marketing, direct sales, affiliate marketing, whatever the case might be, that you've seen it too many times where someone else controls it, and
Yeah.
they change the comp plans, they change the distribution, they just might shut it down one day, and you don't have any control over that. I was in the
Which
same
is
boat. I've
it's
been in
lack of
sales
certainty,
for,
right? It's the exact
yeah,
opposite of lack of certainty. Yeah.
exactly right. I was going to say, and I was in the same boat. I've been in sales for
Yeah.
40 years now, if you go all the way back to selling Christmas wreaths as a Boy Scout, right? And
I sold popcorn and Christmas trees. Absolutely. We have a lot
yeah.
in
People always
yeah.
say, you don't look old enough to be in sales 40 years. I got a baby
Right.
face, but but I'm 56, so but when I started Certainty, it was because I wanted to create the kind of company that I always wanted to work for, right? I
Yeah.
wanted to create one where it could be faith-based and family-focused, and really truly compensate the field, where they make the lion's share of the income.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do good, not just do business, right? So all these factors that I know played into you building what you're building. And so there's just a lot of synergies there. A lot of, I've always loved you, Mike, but I'm hearing these parallels that really resonate with me, because
Right.
I felt the same way, right? I was in more traditional sales, you were in direct sales, but the same things applied. I've had companies that didn't pay their taxes and got shut down. And I remember once we went on we just destroyed their sales quote. I think we beat it by 1,000%. Took the whole team on a sales cruise, and then came home and the doors were locked, right? Because they hadn't paid their taxes in like 5 years. It got shut down, and we had just come back. We were going to hit it again the next year, and they were out of business, right? And so I've seen that too many times, and there are these. I don't know if it's just these people get greedy, or they just don't. They don't think through things. They don't care about their field. They don't. There's these problems that many employers and many businesses end up running into. And just like I said, we wanted to create a company that kept the good and left out all the bad, left out those factors.
Yeah.
We knew if we could control it, we could build that. And so tell me how you met Chris. I know you mentioned Chris Miller. He's one of your two partners, and he is he's a social media genius, right? He's worked in this a long time. Maybe tell us a little bit about him, and then how you guys got to know each other.
Yeah. So
and Mike, let me cut you off before we go there. We're up against our first break, so hold that thought.
You're good.
We're going to go to an advertising break just for a quick minute here. When we come back, let's talk about Chris, talk about how you guys met, and we'll dig into Social Goats and what it is, because it's extraordinary.
Sounds great.
So don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. We're with Mike Popovich. He's the co-founder of a new social media platform that is already it's exploding. It's going viral, and it's called Social Goats. Think goats like Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, right? Simone Biles. Some people say, Tom Brady. And not everybody loves Tom Brady, but a lot of people consider him the GOAT, right? So we'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back to Finding Certainty. I'm here with my good friend Mike Popovich. He is the co-founder of a new social media platform called Social Goats. And we were just talking about some of the goats out there, like Gretzky he'll always be considered the GOAT. But Ovechkin just passed him in points, right? He beat his scoring record.
Yeah.
And I always think I think of Mike Popovich as the GOAT of direct sales, but
I appreciate that. I would put myself in Gretzky's league, but
no.
Yeah, it's amazing, right?
So Chris Miller, your partner at Social Goats, how did you guys meet first, and then maybe we'll dig into his idea and how that transpired.
Yeah, I actually met Chris through his brother. His brother was in the same direct sales company I was in and was pretty successful. He was a local dentist here in Colorado at the time. And so I met Chris through his brother, Andy, and Chris was an All-American rugby player for University of Nevada, Reno. And if you've seen him, he is a massive tattooed human being, and looks like he's a big dude. And I played rugby too. I played rugby at the Air Force Academy. And so we hit it off right when we met, like telling rugby stories. And
Mhm.
That's always a joke. I always tell people there is proof that God is alive because my wife went to a rugby party and still married me. So I know there's one because they're not quite right. We all have an eighth of an inch off, right? So,
Well, and I
but
and I love your Mike. If
yeah,
I can interject, I love your saying that if you don't like me, it's probably my fault. If you don't like my
100%.
wife, it's probably your fault, right?
Yeah, no, I know it's your fault. Everybody likes my wife, but I can be a little ornery, just like Chris. But it's fun. I was in athletics my whole time, and so we just had a bond there. And I knew him when he was in. We started a financial services company together briefly, and I moved on from that pretty quickly. But he became one of the top 1% in the nation in sales, like you, and then we were just friends for the last 15 years, 20 years, whatever it's been.
Wow.
And then he had just called me up, and I knew he had taken a company public with some energy drinks and different things, and had quite a bit of success. And so I always just respected him and knew he was good at what he did. And I guess coming up on about 7 months now is when he called me initially and said, "Hey, I don't know if you know what I do, but I really help a lot of these top influencers, content creators on the planet." With social media and kind of sharing the idea. And then he and I met and just going, I think we've got something here. Is if everybody's problem with all these mega creators and influencers, the guys that you and I or the public would go, wow, they must really make a lot of money. They make pretty decent money, but the main thing, it's really interesting that your show is called Certainty. They have no certainty because the algorithm changes. They need to keep making so many shorts, reels, posts. They have 1 million views, and then next month they have 200,000 views or get deplatformed for something they didn't control. So
Right.
we're just like, gosh, let's just go create something for the content creator to give them certainty. And how about this? Is I would still love to do something for the single mom. That's my mom was a single mom, and
Yeah.
said I want to create an affiliate program because everybody's doing an affiliate program today, whether it's Walmart or Amazon or Spotify or you name it. As you know, Patrick, everybody's
100%.
doing an affiliate
Yep.
program. Yeah, because it's the best way to market, right? It's not.
100%.
It's just, hey, I'm excited about this thing, and if I have incentive to share it and I already love it, it's the best way to market. Um, So we just put together, we think, something pretty special where not only can the content creators, the top influencers finally get paid for what they're worth, their audience, you and I, that love some of these guys' content, can share it as well and create a nice income source, an ongoing income source. So we created a vehicle for the content creators and the audience, the average person like me, to share some of the greatest teachers, athletes, artists, podcasts like yourself, and create residual income doing it.
Well, and I love that. I talk about how you're creating an opportunity, a company, really a movement, and removing the negatives, right? Removing the fact that greed gets in the way in most of these social media platforms. There are influencers out there who are making millions of dollars, but still billions are going to the companies. We
Billions,
won't we won't
exactly,
mention names,
billions.
but we know who they are, right?
Right.
Um,
And it's
and then
okay.
you have these
It's okay. They own
algorithms.
it. They own it. They can do
Well,
what they
they
want,
know
but
who
yeah,
they are, right? I mean, but
yeah,
the
exactly.
algorithms change, and you have somebody who's worked really hard to build a subscriber base. It can be cut by 80% overnight, and with no
Overnight.
with I
Yeah.
mean without them changing anything, right? And then the other problem, and we've talked about this, is that how many of these influencers do we talk to who haven't had a break in the last 5 years? I mean, we talked to a guy just recently. He said, I had 3 days off last year.
Yep.
That was because I
Yep.
had to go to a funeral, right? I mean,
Yeah.
um, because they're
And really
constantly
big.
having to
And
produce
really
new
big. Like,
content, new
yeah.
content, new content, right? So
If we said this guy's name, you would all know it. It's a household name. And yeah, like Patrick said, they do well, but he literally had 3 days off last year because he had to post, create content, come up with the newest thing that he could put on YouTube and Instagram, and which is
it's
fine. But as
exhausting.
you know, that's a grind, and he's a young kid, so he's dealing with it. But if you could fast forward 10 years from now, I'm sure he'd be going, I'd really love more than 3 days off so I could be with my family. right?
Well, and they not only do they have to spend so much time to stay up with the algorithms and not lose their fan base, but they also have to reinvest much of what they earn in production and travel and their et cetera, right, to promote their channel. And so it's this, you see the influencers, you think, man, they must be living the life. They're making millions of dollars, but they are killing themselves to get there. And I love the fact, see the point you made before, that the subscribers who are these loyal fans can get compensated for doing what they're already doing. It's just one more incentive. They're already going to share it because they love the content. But maybe explain how social media is evolving, or more accurately, how Social Goats differs from what else is out there, right? These are the problems that we're going to talk about, how we can fix them. Maybe give a 10,000-foot view of what Social Goats is.
Yeah, it's really going to be a social media platform that's kind of a combination of everything they're used to: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Netflix. It's a membership-based platform, so people pay roughly $1 a day. They'll have all the private content, almost like a Patreon. A lot of people are familiar with that, right?
I've been calling it Patreon on steroids lately.
Yeah, it really is. That's a great analogy. That most of the time, if I, like, my boys and I, they love watching like the Sean Ryan show. They're all boy. They love that Delta Force, Navy SEALs stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah, totally. And so I pay, if I want private information, exclusive content from Sean, I pay so much on Patreon, but I don't receive anything back, right? I'm not an affiliate. I don't receive part of that. The difference here is it's just like that. Somebody like your podcast, or Top Athletes, or the Sean Ryans of the world, and they can come and put their content on Social Goats, just like any other platform. Yet it's a membership base, so they participate in all the profit, as well as me, as the patron that's paying. I participate in the profit too, and so it's really cool. It's so it'll be everything from master classes, teachers, how to help people. This is, as you know me, this is one of the things that, just being in ministry and the type of life Barb and I've had for the last 30 years, is we've dealt with hundreds of thousands of people. One of the things I really know is going to be relevant 50 years from now is, how do we teach people or help them to stop suffering in their relationships and marriage? How do we ease the suffering in their finances? And how do we ease their suffering in their mind and body, their health, basically? Those are the three questions I get. They're all variations of that, as you know, but those are the three things that we really, as a platform, will have all the cool bells and whistles, all the gamers, all the cool reels, but
live streaming.
We'll have all the cool stuff, but also at the same time, hey, we're going to help you be a better human being so you can actually enjoy it. So that's important to me. And they don't have to go there. It's not going to be preachy at all. Like, I'm not going to, these teachers, artists, etc., are not going to, if you don't ever want to absorb any of that content, you don't have to. The cool part, I think, is it's there and available for you at one price, roughly $1 a day. Everybody can come here and participate. And here's what we're seeing for, we can talk about how easy it is to make a couple $1,000s, which was the whole reason I really wanted to keep it so simple, so my mom could do it, right? Yeah. But also for the content creators that want to go make tens of millions of dollars a month, that it's probably the easiest thing to do there too.
Yeah, let me interject something on, you talk about $1 a day, because as we've shared it with influencers, we literally have a 100% who say, I'm interested, right? I can 10x my income with 1% of my fan base.
That's a true number.
Yeah, they say I can probably get 10% to do it, maybe 20, and yet you talk to the individuals, the only objection I've gotten, or concern I've gotten from people is, well, I don't know if somebody's going to want to pay for a platform when they've got lots of other platforms out there that are free. And my response is this is the question they ask is, what are they going to get for it, right? And I say, well, they're going to have access to curated content, VIP content, just like Patreon, right? Content that not everybody else gets, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be exclusive events and other things that they'll have access to as part of that community and that ecosystem. But I believe that third element that is being made available to them to tap into the revenue created by these influencers, by their favorite content creators, that even the branding deals, right, that are
Yep.
coming. I know you have big branders that are saying hit 1 million subscribers. We're
Yep.
there, right? They're just waiting to turn on the floodgates. And so, I think and it's $5 per referral, right? That a person can make for if they refer
It's
someone, they
actually
make
a little
$5 a
more.
month on them. And if those
This is
people refer someone,
Yeah. It's
yeah, I
actually
mean,
going to be a little more. We're actually working on the affiliate agreements as we speak. So I'm not going to give you all the juicy details yet until it's 100% finalized, but it's actually going to be a little bit more. So
wow, that's incredible. I mean, even that though is incredible because you go tell your two best friends about it and tell them to do the same. You've paid for your membership, right?
yeah,
You're making
exactly.
$30 a month, and everything else above that is gravy. And so I just see so many people already. It's not even launched. I mean, we're launching.
Right.
The goal I know is to launch around May 1st, but we're seeing so much interest from this, both from influencers and just from regular Joes like you and me, saying, "Why wouldn't I do this? Right? This is a
Yeah.
no-brainer."
Yeah.
And they're excited. They're very excited. So,
Yeah. I think, that's a valid argument for some people. Like you said, well, why would I do this when I could do this on YouTube for free? And you hit it on the head perfectly. Yeah, you can. Nobody's telling you you can't do that. However, we're we're giving people a vehicle, like you said, to go, this is the biggest gold rush that a lot of us are going to see. Like, if you can have the creator economy and you can attract eyeballs, they're paying people hundreds of millions of dollars that can attract eyeballs. So as a company, we're attracting the eyeballs. You guys
right.
get to participate in it for $1 a day and create a residual income for your family if that appeals to you.
Absolutely. We're up against our next break, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about these benefits to the two sides because they're different but similar. Obviously, there
Yeah.
are influencers out there with millions of subscribers, and there's the soccer mom, my
Yep.
mom, my sister, whoever, who just wants to tell their friends about this and maybe introduce an influencer that they
Exactly.
know. And so let's go to break real quick. We're visiting with Mike Popovich uh, from Social Goats. I mean, the newest social media phenomenon that is it's about to hit the airwaves, guys, and it's something that, as I said, every influencer we talk to is interested,
Correct.
and they all know other influencers. And I mean, you talk about taking a year to hit your 1 million subscribers. I'll be very surprised, Mike, if you don't do it in a matter of weeks. But that's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. I mean, it's you have to have targets so you can run at it, and we'd be happy to hit it faster, right?
Yeah. Well, don't go
You
away,
bet.
folks. We'll be right back here on Finding Certainty and Bold Brave TV. We're back with Finding Certainty, visiting with Mike Popovich. He's coming from Colorado, right? You're in just north of Colorado Springs there. And, it's interesting because as I've been an observer watching you build the foundation and the groundwork for this opportunity. We immediately saw the potential. And it's funny because I'm not a social media guy, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
post
not
on
either.
Facebook about once every 6 months,
Right.
right? And yet I started talking about the benefits before. I love the thought of these content creators getting compensated for and really paid what they're worth. I mean, they work hard to develop content that entertains and educates all of the rest of us, right? And just the fact that you're removing the greed and you're paying the lion's share to them, that's one thing. That's a big thing. Without them having to play the games
Yeah.
and keep up with algorithms and all the BS, right? And then you have the subscribers who are loyal fans. And this is the question we keep asking influencers. Do you think you could get 1% of your fan base to come over and check out Social Goats? Try this platform. It's $1 a day, but you think you could get that? And every one of them says 100%, right? 1% is conservative, and these are their super fans, right? But they say, I keep hearing I could probably get a lot more than that, right? But I like the fact that this gives the content creators an exit strategy. Many of them are young. They don't want to keep doing this for the next 50 years. Most of them, their goal is to become a big enough of a name that they start to get branding deals and maybe can retire someday, right?
Exactly.
Or at least stop the hamster wheel.
Stop
But I
touring
also
350 days out of the year, right? If they're an artist.
exactly, yeah. But I love the fact that the regular consumer, just someone like one of my kids, myself, a friend, they can take part in this social. What do you call it? The social or the content creator economy.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is a multi-billion-dollar arena, and it's just getting bigger. But there's never been a way for the regular consumers, the fans, to benefit the way Social Goats has created. I love that.
Yeah, it's really kind of unique. If they're younger or if they're in the social media world, like you and I admit that we're not really, right? But we're observers and we can go, wow, the Kelsey brothers had 2.5 million subscribers and they got $100 million deal. That's pretty good, right?
Pretty dang good. Yeah.
Pretty good. And when you think about it, 2.5 million people in the world economy is not that big, actually. So that kind of shows you how powerful social media is and the creator economy, how much companies, brands will pay to reach eyeballs, right? If they're willing to pay these guys that much. And so, like you said, I'm not that interested in myself creating an audience of 2.5 million people, but I'm pretty sure collectively, if we create the tools of people that have these huge audiences, even for the kids, say they watch a gamer, right? That I joke about this, but when I was in high school, my guidance counselor didn't say you can go play Fortnite for 8 hours a day and make $1 million a month. That was not one of my options, right?
No.
Those are real things today, right? So now the average kid can just think about this. This is pretty cool. So some of these mega gamers can 10x their income on Social Goats. Now their fans can go, hey, have you seen this platform? We can go share these gamers' content with my affiliate link and go create income sharing their content, sharing the content creators' content, not my own. Or some of the top, I love UFC. It's probably why I was a rugby player, and my boys we're all crazy, right? We
Yeah,
like
yeah.
physical sports, and so like UFC champions are coming on the platform. And people that like that can go, wow, I can share their content because I already love UFC. I'm already sharing this stuff. I can make money now sharing content of people that I love. Yeah. And that's really kind of the dream to me is you don't have to be a social media expert. You can be a mom, like you said, you can be a kid. And we just gave them a way that I think is the simplest way to make money online to really just monetize their life really. And so they don't have to be a gamer. They don't have to be a social media person. You can go do whatever you want to do with your own money. I did it to be free. The reason I started in direct sales at the beginning was to live a lifestyle of freedom. That's really what I wanted is I wanted to wake up on a Wednesday, had not have to go anywhere and have a cup of coffee with my wife. That was the dream to me because that was freedom. And it's been 23 24 years now, I guess, something like that, where at every morning at 9 a.m., that's what I do. So
Well, that's the
we've
dream,
really
right?
we've really created a vehicle for people to do that. And what's really cool is we're not tied to any specific platform. If there's any new technology that comes out, the whole purpose of Social Goats is just take whatever technology is hot right now and use it here, whether it's streaming or podcasts or reel, we don't care, right? There's going to be, we can't even predict what's going to be here 5 years from now, but we'll be involved in it. I guarantee you.
Well, there'll be things that we haven't even thought of yet, right?
Exactly. Right.
I was visiting with a friend of mine just yesterday. I was in Austin, Texas for the weekend for business, and we spent the whole day on Monday. This was the day before yesterday at our friend's ranch just east of Austin.
Yeah. Cool.
And we were talking about how our company's just exploding, right? We created a very generous compensation plan. I mean, we have guys that can earn. I mean, I have guys who will earn 7 digits this year. A couple will probably earn 8 digits,
Nice.
right? Just incredible incomes. And we were talking about how when you can remove the financial stress from someone's life, they're not going to just quit and get lazy, right? It just frees them up to serve, to be creative, to maybe check some things off their bucket list. But usually they want to take people with them, and most people at their heart want three things. They want to have experiences, whether it's traveling, doing things they want to do, maybe going back for a degree in creative writing or something. Secondly, they want to, in my opinion, they want to serve. They want to give back, right? And third, they want to bring others with them. They want to share the wealth, if you will, right? Pay it forward. And so, I love that. We're seeing that in our company. I see the opportunity for that with Social Goats. I know that's been your industry, direct sales, but really combining the technology and the content or the creator economy and the potential of that economy with this desire to pay it forward and give back, make a difference. I think it's a really a beautiful kind of a kaleidoscope of benefits. It's multi beneficial to everyone involved. There's no loser, and right now that's not always the case with social media.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say you hit everything that we really tried to implement from the ground up. We said if we were ever going to design a company, what would it want to be? And it had all those elements that you just described. Is at the core, people are very good people. They're very good at people can get misguided. I just believe people are born at their core valuable and good, and they learn some different habits or wrong thinkings about themselves and do silly things sometimes. But at their core, they do want to do good, and they want to give back, and they want to pay it forward. And so we really designed it where everybody, it's kind of where we started, is if you have an attitude or service that helps other people achieve their goal, you have an enterprise with universal power and universal appeal. Meaning, if I'm trying to help somebody else achieve their goal, not my company's goal, the goal of the company is to help them achieve their goal. And it's everybody. Like you said, it's the content creator, it's the advertisers, it's the business people, and it's the consumers of the content, you and I, the eyeballs. So we really tried
the most important part, right? I mean, because if without the fans, it's like you have an empty stadium watching 2 football teams playing each other. Or it doesn't work. And so I love how this is remembering that. They kind of forget about the subscribers and focus on the influencers, but the subscribers are the foundation of the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah, it's that's really true. Is like I'm a big sports guy, so it'd be like Yankee Stadium. I'm a non-recovering Yankee fan. I'll be a sick Yankee fan my whole life. So, but you go and there's 50,000 people in the stadium. It's like, hey, and they're getting to see people who are the best in the world at what they do. It's awesome, and we pay money to go see that. The analogy, like you said, is pretty cool. Now those 50,000 people not only can go see people who are the best in the world, they can celebrate them even more and share their content and actually make money and have major league type incomes if they choose to. Social Goats is designed to do that if they want to pay them that much money. And it's really, we really did think through and continue to think through, like we said, as this is a little inside baseball stuff, but there's some really cool changes that even in the next couple of weeks we'll roll out, that we're going, hey, based on some of the things with the technology that we're already come across, I think we can up the payout to everybody. And so it's going to be a little bit more than what we even shared with you guys. So we're constantly looking at that, tweaking that. And then, like you said, the brand deals. Yeah, I'm probably never going to go create something myself to have millions of subscribers to get $100 million brand deal. However, you and I together, who know people who know people who know people, can easily assemble a couple million people. The brands still come and get the brand deal. Like you said, they're already coming to us going, we want to, when you hit these markers, we want to introduce this to you. Well, now guess who those brand deals get distributed to? All of us, the members of Social Goats. So it's not just the Kelseys of the world getting those $100 million brand deals. We can do it collectively and now share and disperse that to all of us.
I love
That's
it.
pretty cool. That's going to be a big income source that we don't even show because we don't have the numbers until you're in business for the first quarter, right?
Yeah.
But then we'll be able to go, guys. Not only do we
And
get
for
as much on the memberships, but these brand deals are becoming significant that we all share in.
right. Well, and to clarify that, maybe for anyone who's hearing about this for the first time, you're interested and curious how it works, you can go check it out at certaintysocial.com. There's a landing page, explains details about it. You can join for free today. There's no monthly cost even until it goes live. But just to explain a little bit about the earnings potential for your subscribers and your influencers, as I said, you earn $5 residually every month when you introduce someone to this platform. If they turn around and do the same, which they invariably will, you earn $5 on those as well. You get very quickly into a bonus pool where you start to share in 20% of the earnings of the company. And
Correct.
and there's other things coming. The branding deals, others are just going to make that
Yeah.
bonus pool big. One thing I love about you, Mike, I said this at the beginning, is you're not greedy. Well, you don't need the money. This is a way for you to give back, but you've created just an affiliate program, a compensation plan that I've never seen anything this generous.
I haven't either.
Most of the companies are how little can we pay and get away with it, right? You're just the opposite. It's incredible.
I know we're coming up on a break. I can see as well. Maybe we talk about that or whatever you want to talk about after the break. But yeah, we've had some interesting stories when we're talking to some of the software developers and things. They're going, you want to do what? You want to pay out as much as you possibly can? As you know, they told us, the thousands of people that we worked for, nobody's ever said that.
Yeah,
So we feel pretty good about that. We feel pretty good.
Exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, that is an anomaly. For sales organizations, let alone direct sales companies and affiliate organizations, right? So there's a lot of unique things about what you all are doing. That's why we were attracted to it. We didn't need one more thing to do in our life, in our business. I own 3 companies. We've got 10 divisions. We got associates coast to coast and clients in all 50 states. We're busy, right?
Exactly.
But we saw this as a way to bless our clients' lives. And to your point, you may not feel like, well, I'm not an influencer. I don't know a lot of influencers, but you share it with one, they know 10 others, and those 10 know 20 others. And it starts to mushroom. There's these ripple effects that can be quite staggering, to be honest. So we're on Finding Certainty with Mike Popovich. Coming toward the end of the show here, but we're going to go to one more break, and then we'll be right back, and we'll wrap things up. We're back. You're listening to Finding Certainty. This is Patrick Laing, your host, together with my good friend Mike Popovich. Mike, as you have heard, if you've been listening, is the co-founder of Social Goats. If you just joined us for some reason, maybe you just logged on late, Social Goats is a new social media platform that is already turning heads. It hasn't even gone live. The estimated launch date is May 1st. And, it's interesting, Mike, because you keep announcing these new developments that, initially you thought it would take a year to go international. Now you're planning to go international on day one, right? You thought it would take several months to implement live streaming and the gamers and some of these other things. Now that's going to be available on day one. So, I'm a firm believer in karma, in divine choreography, in manifestation, these things that it just feels like you have doors and windows opening left and right. And that usually is a pretty good sign that you're on the right track and doing the right thing. So any thoughts on that? You've been a lot more involved than I have, but from behind the scenes.
It's I'm a big believer in all of that. And that's some of the master classes, different things that will be available on Social Goats is how to tap into that. It's a real thing, right? There's this interconnectedness of this field of harmony and love that everybody's connected with. And when that's your goal, like you said, these doors open up. And so everybody has access to this power that we can do things that we never thought possible faster and in minutes a day. And so, it's really, we dream about, hey, what could we do? What if we had this? And then all of a sudden the door opens, like you said. And so the fact that we can go international on day one and all these different things that we thought we'd have to scale further, but the technologies open up as fast as we can dream them today. And it's like business at the speed of thought. I had another print, not this one, but that my son built, and it said business at the speed of thought, and it has this jet flying out of Aspen. That's one of my favorite cities in the world here in Colorado. But it's so cool to me. That is really is if you can dream, all of a sudden the right people in the entire world show up to start to make it happen for you when your motive is correct, like you said.
Well, it's so true. We saw our company take a dramatic turn when we, as a collective, as a team, started talking about how can we use what we're good at to make a difference, right? We decided to start an initiative to help nonprofits raise funding. I mean, there's billions of dollars out there hiding if you know where to find them. That's what we do as a company. We're a profit consulting firm.
Right.
And we can use some of those dollars to help nonprofits. So we say we're reinventing how fundraising is done. We've got an initiative called the Certainty Fellowship that helps students graduate debt-free. We're helping veterans get their benefits. But when we started thinking like that, it's kind of like we took the blinders off and said, how can we not just make income, but truly make a difference and leave a legacy? It's like the Lord was sitting up there watching, just waiting for us to figure that out. And then he said, "Okay,
now you guys are on
flip the switch."
Exactly.
And you see our hockey stick, right? It was like we started in 2019. We starved for 2 years during the pandemic. We started to make a little money, and then when we figured that out, and made that decision, we just hit this hockey stick. We grew 700% the next year.
Awesome.
This year we'll 10x that, right? And I look at that as the turning point where we figured it out. It took us a couple years to figure it out, but it was like a paradigm shift that changed everything, right? And you've already figured that out. I know you preach about it all the time. You talk about it. It's what you counsel on it. And I think it's been imbued into Social Goats, and it's one reason things are happening so quickly. Would you agree?
I would. And because we do understand some of these principles, right? Is if the motive is to help others, you have unlimited power. Like the door's open for you. It's
so true,
because nobody pushes back. There's one thing to compete. Like we're not really competing. I tell people all the time, I'm not competing with YouTube or Instagram. I want YouTube and Instagram to increase their viewership because of us. So we really want people to everybody wins. It's an overused cliche, win-win, but we're compounding wins here. We really are. And if you do that, nobody pushes back that hard, right? So, but I would love to.
I keep saying that, Mike. Hold that thought, and we're almost toward the end. But I keep telling people, we're not asking people to leave YouTube to come over here. All of those influencers post to multiple platforms.
Exactly.
This is just one more. It's just one more. That saying, one of these things is not like the others, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's Social Goat. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we don't have much time left, but I'd love to. One of the things that we're going to do is be very philanthropic as a platform, Goat Philanthropy. So some of the things that you just mentioned, we can probably collaborate on even, because when we have tens of millions of subscribers and we can do some very cool, very pinpointed things that truly make a difference versus these nebulous nonprofits and NGOs that we really don't know what's going on, right? And we can really target specific people. And I don't even want to. There's so many things that we daydream about. Going, won't that be so cool? We have this video of we do X for this veteran or the single mom or whatever it is, right? So we'll do a lot of that. A lot of you guys that if you get involved in goats, that'll be fun stuff as we do as a community. We'll invite people to different cities and do a surprise thing where we pay off this veteran's home. All the stuff you see on social media, we can do all that kind of cool stuff. Well,
Mike, you are a gentleman and a scholar. I appreciate you being on the show, and we're very excited about what you're doing. You're going to bless millions of lives, and appreciate you listening to Finding Certainty. If this is your first time, we hope you'll come back. If you're a recurring listener, remember to like us, share us, post us on your comment or on your social media platforms. Come check out Social Goats. Remember, CertaintySocial.com. Certainty is out there. You can find it. We can help. Mike and his team and Social Goats can help. We'll see you next week here on Finding Certainty. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Finding Certainty. We hope you've gained some more insight into how to create more certainty in your own business or nonprofit. Join us next week for another taste of the Certainty Experience. Until then, we wish you greater certainty in all that you do.